Hey everyone and welcome. We are Next Level Business Advisors and this is Business Stories of Success. If you want to break through and achieve your own business success by learning from other successful business owners, you're in the right channel. For more of our content, make sure you click subscribe and don't forget the bell icon so you're the first to be notified when new videos are added. Enjoy today's video.
Hello, hello, hello. You're with Marc Adams at Next Level Business Advisors, and I am with Dawn Marcotte. I hope I pronounced the last name right.
You
And
did.
she
You
is going to
pronounced it
be
correctly. Very good.
beautiful, beautiful. I have a little French to me. That is French.
That is French.
And I
Yes, it
got some
is.
talent. How about that? Well, I am so happy to have you with us today. Uh, Dawn is with DM Consulting. She's not with, she is. And she'll break that down
Is,
for us as
yes.
we chat about this business. So I'm just so happy to have you. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me here, Mark. I appreciate it.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I like to get us completely immersed immediately. So I'm going to ask you about who you are and tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. As you said, DM Consulting, and I have been a freelance writer for a really long time, well over a decade, actually. But it was my side gig with my corporate job until 2020, summer 2020. As with many people, due to COVID, I got laid off. And so I thought, okay, well, let's take this side gig full time, see what we can do. So at that point, I decided that I needed to start a real business. And that's when I started DM Consulting. And like many people who start online businesses, I kind of fumbled around a little bit about exactly what was it that I wanted to do. Do I want to do social media marketing? Because I have some skills there. Do I want to build websites? Because again, I have some skills there. But I finally ultimately landed back on freelance writing because that's my first love. That's what I do the best. And so that's kind of where I am now. And I published a book in 2020 and I just had another book come out here in June of 2021. So again, that's my skill set, is writing. I love putting words together and I love explaining things to people, teaching people things, and it just works really well for me to do that rather than in a speaking format, in a written format. So that's kind of what DM Consulting is all about, is helping new online entrepreneurs figure it out, put all the puzzle pieces together. But rather than a coaching program or anything like that, I put it in a book. And I love to give free advice. So, people can contact me and just ask me things. And if I know, great. And if I don't, I have a network of people that I can refer them on to that are experts in different things, whether it's, building a sales funnel or figuring out social media marketing or whatever. Right. So I don't think of myself as a coach. I think of myself as a writer.
I like it. Okay, awesome. So let's get some bookkeeping in order just so we can make sure that we can find you. Do you have a website that we can find you at,
I do have
or
a
a phone
website.
number that you
It's
best reached at?
it's dm-consultingllc.com. And that website has a free portion and there is a paid membership portion. I've been online in business since the website, since the world was little. When the web was new, I was there because I'm kind of a nerd and I love all that techie stuff. So I jumped on. So I've kind of seen it as it grows and how it's changed and things like that and all that experience. And so I took that and put a lot of that into a website to say, okay, if you're new, you got to figure out your legal stuff. You got to figure out your accounting stuff. You got to figure out where do your skills and your talents and what people will pay you for actually all come together, because that's the sweet spot for building a business, and just a bunch of different things. So
I like
rather
that.
than, again, trying to coach or have a course, every time I learn something new, I put it on the website to share it with people because it's just
Nice.
easier to do it. Yeah. And that way I'm someone who likes to learn new things and keep expanding. So I didn't want to force myself to be, okay, this is my niche over here, because I'll do that for 6 weeks and then I'll get bored and I'll want to learn about this over here. And So the website seemed to be the easiest way to do that, to expand that
Nice.
way. And I also have a Facebook group called Women Coaches and Consultants Growing Our Business. So that's the other place that
Whoa.
I spend a lot
Say
of
that, say
time.
that one more time, because that was really fast and long. We got to get
Sorry,
that one
it's
slow.
Women Coaches and Consultants Growing Our Business. And again, that's on
Beautiful.
Facebook.
Nice, nice. So now you said that you started officially your business in 2020.
2020, yeah. That's when I
Okay.
registered my business. The only thing that
Okay.
really changed is that now the state knows I'm there and I have to pay
Okay.
taxes on it, right?
Of
As
course. Of
opposed to,
course.
yeah, of course, as opposed to in the past, I was an independent contractor as a freelance writer because it was a side gig. It was a really nice income as a side gig. I wasn't making enough to make it worth the effort to create a whole separate entity,
Right.
with the tax and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
But that's something that any new entrepreneur should check into with a tax professional. Make sure that you know how that's going to affect you, because if you don't set it up the right way, you end up giving Uncle Sam more money than you probably really want to.
Absolutely. Boy, do I know that. Let me ask you this question because this is an interesting one, right? So you had it as a side gig, you were working COVID, I guess, maybe something like that.
Yep. And
2020
then
was a
COVID
crazy
hit.
year, right? But what made you decide to say, and this is an important question because a lot of people have to make this determination. I am not going to pursue another job and do this. I'm going to do this strictly. Like I'm going to go full bore, 100% business ownership. What kind of helped you make that decision?
Well, in my case, it was the sudden realization that even when I have what I consider to be a very stable job, it was a great job. I was an executive assistant to a CEO in a company that was growing, no financial anything, right? But completely out of my control. One day my boss called me and said, "Guess what? We're eliminating your position. Sorry." And they were very nice about it and they were very gentle, but just that realization that even when I'm in a stable situation, things beyond my control can happen and I'm without an income. And that was really scary, especially because my husband got laid off at the same time. So I'm
Ooh.
looking at him going, well, great. How do we feed the kids? Just that. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but
Right.
that's how the
I
brain
get it.
goes as a parent, right? To the immediate worst case. Oh my gosh, we're going to lose the house, whatever, right? So in that moment, I'm like, you know what? I can control what I can do and I can create a business. I know that I have these skills. I have been successful to a certain extent in the past. So I know I can do it. Let's take it full time and see what happens. And even if something changes and in 3 months my boss says, okay, everything's better, come on back, I will still have this side business so that at any point in the future, if something changes, I have more than one source of income to support my family. And that was just that realization that even a good stable job isn't necessarily going to keep me financially independent, really made me jump in with both feet right away.
Nice, very nice. And I'm a big proponent of that. I talk to people all the time. One of the reasons that I love owning my own business is because I do control my destiny. Whereas, you can have a job making $500,000 a year, but if you get laid off, you go from that to zero. Now, if I have five
Overnight.
clients overnight, right? If I have 5
Mhm.
clients and I'm doing 100,000 a piece and I lose one, okay, I'm at 400,000. And guess what? I can go out and get that next one because I put my
Mhm.
systems in place that I can manage what I manage. So I am all about obviously starting your own business because, well, that's what I
Yeah,
do, right? I'm a business advisor and that's what I want people to do. So
exactly.
now let me ask you this, because you made the leap. It's not been, you're at it, your 1 year anniversary right about.
1 year anniversary.
All right,
Yay. Go me. I'm still
congratulations.
here.
Congratulations. Do you know how many
Thank you.
businesses fail? What percentage of businesses fail in the first year of business?
Oh, it's huge. Huge.
Yeah, yeah. I think the number is either 50 or 80, they say. It's some
Yeah, it's
crazy,
a big,
crazy number that
yeah.
fails. And so to make it to your 1 year anniversary, congratulations.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
based on that, how do you define success? or based on
That's a
anything else?
really great question. I define success for myself in making an impact. It's not
Okay.
about the money for me. I mean, we all need to earn a certain living, right? Just to keep the house and feed the kids and so forth. But I'm not someone who defines my success by how much money I make. Did I make $10,000 this month? Did I, whatever, right? I'm more of how many people have I impacted? How many people have I shared the right information with them to keep them going so they make it to that year of business, or to give them that aha moment? Oh my gosh, I can do that process, and all of a sudden things are working for me and my business is growing, that kind of thing. When I get those messages from people that say, oh, thank you so much, this was really helpful to me, that's what I love. I just live
Beautiful.
for helping other people.
I love it. So I'm going to just dive in a little bit. You said one thing when you started that I think is really important. You said, I define success for myself. And then you went into what you define success for. The
Mhm.
reason I think that's powerful, and I've not heard anyone say it that way, is because, yes, success is a personal decision, right?
Mhm.
It's a personal determination, right? Somebody might be making $40 million a year and say, I'm not successful. Meanwhile, everybody's like, are you crazy? Right? It's what's
Yeah,
personal, right? And
yeah,
so I love your
exactly.
definition. I love it because whenever you ask that question of someone, it's what is success to you, for you, right?
Mhm.
And I love that. And
Exactly.
then you said it's to be impactful to others. So your success really is how you are able to help some other people find success. If I translated that into Mark speak.
That is, yes, that is exactly correct. Yes. Because
Beautiful.
really, when I help others, it all comes back around. When I am helpful and I give away whatever I decide to give away in that particular day, that person's going to remember me. So 6 months from now, when I send them an email that says, hey, I've got a book coming out, would you mind reading it and posting a review? They're going to be far more likely to do that than if I was the person that kept poking them saying, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, and they, shut you down. So I
Right.
have found a lot more success in being someone that gives things away and is consistently helpful and supportive of other people, because I think so many, especially new entrepreneurs, really need that. Because as soon as you type something into Google that has anything to do with building a new business, you are bombarded with
Oh,
people
yes.
trying to sell you their thing, their social media management, their business goods, whatever it is. They're all trying to sell you their thing, which, it's just so overwhelming to a new person to get all of that. And how do you sort through that? And who do you listen to? And it's just, like I said, completely overwhelming for so many people.
It really is. And that's why I think many people are hesitant to even take the leap into
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, right?
Yes,
You might, it's
agreed.
easier, quite honestly, to have it as a side hustle. I do it, but to take the leap to have everything relying on it, boy, that can be a challenge, when you
It
start
is.
out,
Well, and that's part
especially.
of why I wrote my new book, which is 9 success guaranteed, 9 lies online entrepreneurs need to know, because I feel like there's so many people who could take that leap, but they need a little bit more information. So a lot of the things I share in the book, I interviewed 20 plus entrepreneurs who are living the dream, and I asked them questions just like you asked me. How do you define success? And got all kinds of great information from them. But the upshot is this is a book that kind of says, okay, if you're going to make the leap, you're going to need to have a support system. How do you do that? You're going to need to find a coach. Well, what are the steps to pick out a coach? And it really gives some step-by-step information to help new entrepreneurs who are, like you said, too scared to make that leap because they know how hard it is. And I really
Mhm.
wanted to provide some how-to step-by-step information to help those people make that leap, especially right now with so many people who have gotten laid off or who are not able to find another job as
Mhm.
quickly as they would like to. A lot of them did jump into the online world and went, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
not working the way I
Like
thought it
jumping in
would.
the middle of the pool and then saying, "Oh, wait a minute, I can't swim." Uh-oh.
Right? Exactly.
I
Because
should have took
nobody
that
equipped them
course.
and showed them. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Actually, that takes me to an interesting question, right? So if you jump in the middle of the pool and you can't swim, you didn't realize you didn't know how to swim, but you live to tell about it, then you learn from a mistake. So my question to
Yes.
you, what is one big mistake you made on your business journey thus far that you care to
I
share?
think I think the biggest mistake I made was not staying authentic to who I was.
Okay.
Because when I started my business, coaching and consulting was a huge, it just exploded because everybody that I was interacting with online was someone who had had some sort of life-changing experience, wanted to share their journey on how they fixed themselves or whatever, they fixed the problem. So coaching just exploded and everybody was telling me, well, you need to have a coaching program and you need to charge 4 figures for it. And I tried, and it just is, that's not who I am. And I didn't have any success doing that because, again, people can tell when you're being authentic. If you are not being honest about who you are and what you're comfortable with, they're going to sense that and they're not going to trust you and they're not going to buy from you. So because I tried to do what somebody told me I should be doing, it took me another 3 or 4 months to start doing what I really want to be doing. And so that's
Nice.
3 or 4 months that I could have been growing my business and making money and so forth, that I didn't because I wasn't being authentic to who I was. But that's such an easy trap to fall into when you're new. And even when you're not. I mean, remember, I've had a side gig for 10 plus years, but when I jumped in full time, I still listened to the noise online and did what everybody else was doing instead of sticking to what I knew I could do well because they
Nice.
said that I should be doing this stuff. So yeah, and that can be so hard, but yeah, that was my one big mistake. I really wish I hadn't have done that.
Hey, you know what? But it's a beautiful thing again because you didn't drown in the pool. You
Yes,
got out to tell
yes.
the story. So what
I got
advice would
out
you
in
give?
time.
Like because that's a valuable piece, right? We start our businesses, and often we have many people in our ear, which is not bad necessarily, especially when
No.
people have our best interests at heart. However, the advice they give might not lend itself to our authentic self. So how do we? What advice would you give so that someone who is hearing different pieces of advice could overcome and stay focused on the right vision for themselves? What would you
I
say?
think one of the big things that I learned, and I tell people all the time, are to have very specific goals for yourself. And what I use a SMART goal method, which is that means they're specific, they're measurable, they're actionable, they're realistic, and they're timely. So I have weekly goals and monthly goals and quarterly goals that all roll up into my business growth. So what I found is most effective for me is I actually have little Post-it notes. I love Post-it. I have little Post-it notes on the wall next to my computer with those goals written out. And when somebody is telling me, hey, you need to go jump onto Clubhouse because it's really awesome and you're going to grow things and whatnot, I look at my goals and my goal says, no, reach out to 50 people on Facebook every day.
Mhm.
I'm not going to go jump on Clubhouse. I'm going to
Mm,
do because I have
mm.
identified a
Love
specific
it.
thing that works for me. Now, I
Yes.
will make a note of what they said. Clubhouse is the new thing, and I'll take some time later. A goal might be to investigate Clubhouse, learn how to use it, that kind of thing. But I'm not going to just jump on it in that moment because I already have a plan. I need to follow that plan. But part of that whole goal setting is to actually set aside some time to just step away and strategize. Think about on a deeper level, what are your goals? Get clients is not a goal. We all want to get clients. You need to be a little more specific about that. What kind of clients do you want to get? How are you comfortable getting them? How do you like to interact with the world? And just take some time to really think about what works for your personality, how you're comfortable doing things, where have you had success before, and do that. So again, I find when I have things written down and are very specific, it's much easier for me to say no to someone. Thank you very much for your advice. You know, a perfect example for that is, so I have this book, right? One of the things I'm doing is I have all of these connections on LinkedIn. And I love podcasting. I love being a guest on a podcast. So I decided to solicit podcasters, say, hey, I've got this new book. I would love to send you a copy so you could read it. And if you think I'm a good fit for your audience, let's talk about me being a podcast. Great. Very simple, very easy. I'm an introvert. I'm sending it to one person at a time. But I actually had somebody come back and tell me that was stupid. I should stop doing that. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay.
well, thanks for the advice. But
Wow.
I've already been booked on 3 podcasts doing that. So I realize
It
you think
works.
you're an expert, but it works for me. Thank you
Right.
very much. And I
That's
moved
it.
on. Right.
That's it.
So you have
Yeah.
to, when you understand what works for you, it makes it much easier as well.
Yeah. I like what you just said, because we talked about what success means. You said, I define success for me, and even with advice, right? Just because someone is an expert in a field doesn't mean that their advice is going to work for you. Oh, Dawn, that was stupid. What you should
Exactly.
do is a mass mail, send out to 5,000 people, and you can get on 50 podcasts. But I only want to be on 5. Right?
Right. You know,
I know what works for
I'm
me.
sure he was trying to be helpful. But again, I know myself and I know what works for me. When I try to do, huge posts or mass email, that feels really uncomfortable to me and really just kind of spammy because these people don't know who I am. Whereas when I'm on LinkedIn, you can send a specific message explaining who you are and why you're reaching out and is there a mutual connection? And if they're not and they ignore me, that's okay. I don't have a
Right.
problem with that.
Right.
Move on, right, to the next person. But if you're just sending a mass email, you don't get that back and forth, that
Right.
conversation, that relationship building.
What I really like when I hear that from you is know yourself before
Mm-hmm.
you set your goals or as you set your goals. Know who
Yes,
you are. Because once you know who you are, then you can create the solution to meet your needs. Right.
exactly.
And I love the way you said that. I'm gonna pivot just a little bit, because I think
Okay.
we're walking toward this part of the story actually. When you talk about knowing who you are, what do you think is the single biggest or most important quality that's needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Tenacity. I
Tenacity.
think
Okay.
tenacity, because so many things change and there's so much information that it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get really stressed when things aren't going well. I happen to be a marathon runner, and
Really?
yeah, I do. And every time I run a marathon, there's that mile somewhere in the middle where I just don't want it anymore. I am done. I can't believe I paid somebody to do this. I am insane. What am I thinking? But then by the end, I'm all excited. Look, I did this again, right? So I've done it enough. I know that there's going to be that hard part. So I keep going. And it's the same thing in business. There are going to be bad days. I don't care how successful you are. There are going to be bad days. And when you first start out, there are going to be whole months where you just don't make any money. It's just horrible. Nothing's happening. And then a month later, it's great because something clicked and something got some tractions. And all of a sudden you're making money and it's wonderful. But then the next month you're back to zero, right? So tenacity, I think, is so important. Just not giving up on your dream, not giving up. Keep trying new things, tweaking things. Keep trying until you find what works for you. And if you don't have that, you're going to give up and you're just going to go back to your 9 to 5 and not do what you want to do.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I like that. I didn't know you were a marathon runner. I'm
Yes,
trying to get there.
guilty.
I get my little elliptical on. Yesterday was the longest I've been on it. I was on it for 40 minutes straight. I thought I was
Nice.
gonna die. I
Yeah,
thought I was
yeah.
gonna die. But it's funny because I keep at it, even though it's not easy. Like, I never was a long distance runner. but I can
Right.
see the difference from when I started to now. And it ties into that. It's that tenacity, right? You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
There's always a point. And in business, if you are not tenacious, well, then you will just let go of the rope at some point, right?
Yeah.
It works hand in
Exactly.
hand. But
Exactly.
when it works, it's a beautiful thing. So I hope people are listening to this. And I'm going to just say that there are two things that you've given me that I've actually written down. My eyes are looking downward, right? That I wrote down that are brilliant. You said a lot of brilliant things, but I can only write
Thank
but
you.
so much, right? Without losing focus. But you talked about those SMART goals: specific,
Mhm.
measurable, achievable,
Actionable, realistic,
actionable.
and timely.
I love that, right? And you actually said that you've taken your SMART goals and you've broken them down weekly, monthly, quarterly,
Hmm.
right? And you do
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Check this out. Check out my writing series. You do it with the tenacity that leads to a success in your business.
I love it. That's great.
But it's true. It's true, right? So if you can do that as a business owner, boy, you will be on the right road to finding
Hmm.
success. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. I
Yeah, I
would
mean,
totally agree.
yeah,
Yes.
I just stole it from you. You have to agree. So
Feel free.
here's another question for you. Um, because you actually are mentoring and you're coaching, how have coaches or mentors contributed to your success?
Oh my gosh. I would not be where I am today without my coaches. I've had two so far. I had one when I first started, probably the best investment I have ever made in my business. She
Hmm.
really helped me create a sales funnel. So that system that brings people into my circle of influence so they get to know me and what I do and ultimately, hopefully, buy from me. So, and the thing about that wasn't just that she helped me create a sales funnel. Being that new in business, I didn't even know the questions to ask. And I would be
Hmm.
struggling with something, and I would, because we would meet weekly, and I would talk to her about it, and she would have answers or she would have suggestions of things I had never even thought of. And I really liked it as well because it was a group coaching. So other people, I could listen to what was happening with other new people
Ah,
and learn
yes.
from them as well. And I found that just tremendously useful. So I strongly encourage people to find a coach. And then I also have a book coach. So she actually helps me with my writing. She's kind of a content coach. So I'll write something and she'll say, you know what, this paragraph would be a little bit better way up here, that kind of stuff. But again, she has been in the industry of publishing for a very long time. So she knows editors and people to do the covers and all kinds of great things and the marketing. And she's just been such a tremendous help. And she talks me down off the ledge because I I don't sit idle very well. And so
Ah,
that 2 week period when I send the manuscript in and I get back the thing that I can upload on Kindle was just killing me. I'm like, maybe I should change the title. Maybe this paragraph should go, right? I can't do that at that point, right? And so, but she would, no, it's okay, Dawn, you're fine. Okay, breathe, just breathe. And so it was
nice,
really
nice,
nice to have that touch point and that expertise and that other person to just kind of hold my hand. So I
nice.
have been thrilled with my business coaches.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that. You said you have a book coach. Was it a book coach?
Yes. Hmm.
And you are a professional writer. And
Yes.
that seems interesting, right? Some people will say, "Well, I'm a professional writer, so I'm not going to get someone who's going to help me in my writing. I'm a professional," and that might be a mistake. Sometimes our
It
pride
might
gets in the way
be.
of accepting help, right? My pride says, "You know what? I am a business advisor, so I'm not going to get a coach because that makes me look weak." No, no, don't make that mistake, right? Coaches need coaches, right? Writers need book coaches. Everyone benefits from that. The best basketball player in the world had a coach. And you know what?
Hmm.
That coach was actually
Exactly.
coached by somebody else in the past. We all benefit by doing it. So don't let pride stop you from getting what you need to be successful in business. I like that. And
Yeah,
you sound like you had some really good mentors. So
I did.
that's a beautiful thing to hear, because some of us figure we can just do it on our own. And you can, but boy, it can take a lot longer. So it just depends on
You
where you want
can,
to
but
go.
it's going to take you longer and you're going to make a lot more mistakes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you might not ever find it. So here's
Yeah.
an interesting question because I don't want to. sometimes I feel like I'm skewering the answer because we just talked about coaches, but maybe not. What advice would you give to a new business owner? And you've done this, you've worked with owners before. So what would be
I
one
have,
piece of advice that you give one?
there's so much advice to give to someone new, but I think there are actually two things that I would tell any new business owner. Number
Okay, I
one
like
is
it.
to make sure you have a good support system
Mm,
that includes other business people, not just your family, your friends. They will support you, hopefully, and they want you to be successful. But when you're having a bad day because you can't get Google to rank your website and your SEO is falling apart, whatever, they're not going to know what to do with that. They're not going to know what to suggest to you or commiserate with you. So I think it's really important to have other business people in your support group. And that could be a Facebook group. That could be a local Rotary Club where you meet once, whatever, right? Just some other people that you can talk to and share and help each other out, and just have that community. But I think the second thing is, yes, find a coach, but don't just grab the first coach you find or can afford. Be specific about what you are looking for in that moment, because that's the thing. I think a lot of people have this mental idea that they're going to find a coach and that's going to be their coach for the next 10 years. And that's not probably really what's going to happen. You're going to have a coach, they're going to help you. Like I said, I had one that helped me with my sales funnel. I was in her program for 12 weeks. We still interact with each other. And it's fantastic, but she helped me with that very specific thing. She didn't help me with my book. I found someone else to help me with my
mhm.
book. Now, my
Right.
next step at some point in the future, I am going to be getting a social media coach to help me with that because I do okay, but I feel like I do better, right? So I know that's going to be my next step in my business. So don't get locked into one person, but you want to do your research. You want to, if you can, a lot of coaches will give a free seminar or webinar or something about their particular topic. Take it. Make sure that their personality is going to work well with you. Do a discovery call with them. Ask them the tough questions. Ask them for references, things like that. Think about if your doctor retired and you had to go find a new doctor, what are some of the things you would do to choose a new doctor?
I
Same thing
like
with a
that.
coach. Do your legwork.
I like that. So I got two good pieces of advice. Find that good support system and find a coach, not the first one you can afford, not the cheapest. And I'm much that way in that the coaches that I've had, I use the word vibe. I vibe with them. They start
Yeah,
speaking and I'm going, yeah, yeah. Oh wow. You articulated what I felt. That's what you're looking for,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
If they can articulate what you feel without you having to tell them, now you've got somebody, right? The
Hmm.
mindset is the same or close. You just see them almost like further along the road than you are, but I can see them on the same
Exactly.
road, right? And that's what we want because that's going to help us build what we need, and it's going to be specific. You're right. My first
Hmm.
coach, um, and I spent a whole lot of money. It was all about just how to increase my sales. The second coach was about how to redefine my business. The third
Hmm.
coach, and I'm on three or four now. One was very specific to social media. So you might have specific ones, and some will take you so far, some will only take you here, others will take you for years. So it does depend, but find yourself those mentors. I'm starting to pontificate a bit too much. Let me slow down. And
But
let me.
I love what you said is that when you're listening to the coach, they are articulating what you're thinking in your head and they're saying it out loud. And that's
Yes,
actually something that you look at from both sides. If you're the coach trying to get clients, you need to
yes,
be able to do that. But
yes.
as the person who's looking for a coach, you need to be on the receiving end of that. And that's with my first coach, that was exactly what it was. When she started talking about sales funnels and I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been thinking. You're in my head.
That's it.
And
That's it.
it
That's it.
resonated. And that's what you want to look for when you are looking for a coach.
Yeah, that it's invaluable to find that, or else
Yes.
you're really going to lose. And so as a coach, it's important that you listen with a keen ear and see if I can help this person, because there's some people you can't help, right? And if
Yes.
it, and so I might tell a person, I really enjoy the company or the conversation, but I don't think I can help you because that's not what I
Mhm.
have to bring to the table.
Right.
So it does
Right.
work
And
both ways, but
there's wrong with that.
it's, in fact, that's the best thing you can do for a person, because you're freeing
Yeah.
them to find what they need. So that's a beautiful thing. So
Yes.
that's awesome. So I like that piece of advice for our new business owners. You see me darting around. I've got a few notes here, but before I wrap up, I've got one more question for you. This is the bonus question. All
Okay.
right. We do a weekly
Bonus round.
mastermind. We're doing a weekly mastermind, and we would basically take a quote that we heard or that we liked, and we would just ask people to talk about it, chat about it. How do they think it? How do they see it as applies to their business? And we get random, not random, but different thoughts based on these odd quotes. I want to get your thoughts on
Okay.
this one. What ends up happening is we produce a diamond from the rough. Here's the
Okay.
question. The degree of your success depends on the quality of your relationships. How does it apply to business?
And it's true. Uh, Business is all about relationships, because people buy from other people. Unless you are Coca-Cola or McDonald's, they are not going to buy from you because of your name. They will buy from you because of who you are when you have interacted with them. So building relationships, whether it's in real life or online, is essential to growing any business. Because the perfect business model that you want to get to is you're not marketing to strangers anymore. You're getting referrals and renewals. And the only way you're going to get to that point is by having relationships with real people that have worked over the course of time.
I love it. That was beautiful. You dropped a couple of gems in there, and you're right. We do business with people we know, like, and trust, basically, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, unfortunately, my name is not Coca-Cola. I wouldn't even have to worry about. But my name is
Exactly,
Mark,
right?
right? My name is Mark, and if you get to know Mark, maybe we can work together. If you get to know Dawn, maybe we can
Mm-hmm.
work together. So it's important for
Yep.
business owners. Don't get caught up in branding more than getting caught up in meeting people, making relationships. And like you said,
Building those
that will
relationships,
build
those
that.
connections.
You said, right? It builds word of mouth referrals, and it builds those kind of
Mm-hmm.
things. So relationships. I love it. I want to thank you, Dawn, for giving me some time today. You dropped some real gems on us.
Well,
We
thank you for
really,
having
really
me. I
appreciated
appreciate
it.
it.
Hey, we're going to look forward to continuing to watch your journey to success.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.